Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Quarantine Booker Studio. I am your man out of Japan, Jay Contra, and the need to look at expensive Japanese video games is so great within me that I have gone to the Surugaya website and found the most expensive Super Famicom games. Now, how did I get here? If you want to follow along and you go to surugaya.jp, well, it's surugaya-ya.jp. The .com is the English version, but it's all machine translation, so I don't know how good it's going to be. But if you're using the Japanese one, this will be a lot easier if you know some kana. You go game. Let's see, last time when we did Famicom, let's go to retro game down here. So the Famicom is here, and then we go to Super Famicom. We go to the next system, and then we just want to look at software. We could look at some hardware as well as some accessories, but I think I just want to focus on games for right now. Then we go to the most expensive games, and what do we find? Well, topping out at almost 400,000 yen. This is the most expensive Super Famicom game I've ever seen. I've never seen this in person. I've only seen it here. This is a limited slam dunk game. Now, I think this is a pretty common game. Came out in 1995. Let's open it up. Let's see what's here. So, this slam dunk, if you're not familiar, is a basketball anime from the 90s. Might be going on today. I don't believe so. I'm not sure. I don't follow it. But obviously hugely popular in the 90s. This was like a special version that when I looked this up, I found that you could like write into like a magazine or some contest or something. You wrote in and you said like what you thought were the best players, and then they made a version that had like the people's choice of best players in Slam Dunk. And then I think they came out with the real version that had like all the teams or whatever like that they were in the anime or whatever. This is obviously something that's very hard to find, and that's why it's going for, what is the equivalent? I think it's 107, 106-ish yen to the dollar when I'm filming this. So that would mean that it's about 370,000, $3,700 inclusive of tax. Note, Surugaya prices both on the website and I believe in most, if not all of its stores, are inclusive of tax. So keep that in mind when you're gauging prices on things. Now, what's also interesting to me, and actually let's bring this up, let's compare the pictures on these. Because the thing about the Surugaya website, and you may have noticed it if you watched the Famicom video when we looked at the most expensive Famicom games, is that even for these expensive games, the pictures that they're showing aren't necessarily, the listing picture is not necessarily the item that you will get. And because if you look here, this is a bit different though. Sometimes it is. Because if you look here, we've got these two pictures here. They're obviously very different. We've got this very like low res one. And then this one is for a copy that is cheaper by a few bucks. It's going for $3,300 because it has a problem with the box, including the inner box. So with Super Famicom game, you've got the outer box, and then you've got an inner plastic tray that the cartridge sits in. Then there could also be a problem with the ROM cartridge. Now, this does not include a picture of the ROM cartridge. You'll see with the copy of Rendering Ranger R2, we've got a picture. I believe this is going to be the item that you would get if you ordered this, if I had to guess. Now, I'm not 100% sure on that. I've never actually ordered anything off of the Surugaya website. I have bought stuff in their stores. I have not bought off the website. Now, Rendering Ranger R2 is it is probably the most expensive sort of like regular released Super Famicom game. This came out, when did this come out? 95. Another 95 game, interesting. This was originally released, well, I mean, it was just released by the people who made Turrican, or Super Turrican, which is another expensive game. But it was only ever released in Japan. I think it's that same kind of style where it's sort of like a 2D side-scrolling shooter. I've never played it myself. I don't have $2,000 to drop on this. Although it is going for, what is that, $1,900? Yeah, it's going for $1,900, and that's actually pretty good considering that I want to say I've seen this go for easily $2,500 at a place like Even Trader or especially Mandarake. And looking at the condition, let's see, let's blow it up. This is being sold as good condition, or like, there's nothing wrong with this. And so looking at the manual, it's a bit bendy. It's not perfect, a little bit of a corner edge wear here, but it's fine. Like I would say that, yeah, this is in good condition, no yellowing of the cartridge. As long as this picture is the actual listing, I don't see any issues with that. Moving along, here's Yoshi's Cookie, Kurupon Obun de Cookie. Yoshi's Cookie is a pretty common Super Famicom game. I believe it's a Super Scope shooting game. I've never played it. It's pretty, yeah, it's like maybe $1, maybe up to $5. But this is probably a prize that you got, and that's why it's going for, what is that? That's about, let's say, $1,600 thereabouts. Now, we've got a copy of Magical Poppin' here. We've actually got 3 other copies at 3 different prices. So here we've got the copy of Magical Poppin', and I want to compare this. We'll compare the pictures because here we've got, this is being sold as fine. There's no problems with this one. Magical Poppin' being sold, wow, $95. Man, we're like just the most expensive Super Famicom games all released in 1995. For one second, hold on, let's see. We've got this Slam Dunk was released in October. Japanese dates go year, month, day. So here we go. This was released October 27th, 95, November 17th, 95, March 10th, 95. That's crazy. So here we've got Magical Poppin'. I want to look at these. No, they're the same picture. They're the same picture. So this is being sold as fine for $1,500. Then we've got this copy here where it says the box and the manual have a problem. The box and or the manual have a problem. But I would be very, very like concerned about buying this because they're not showing you what the box actually looks like. It's a generic picture, and looking at it, yeah, so it's saying if you have any problems or like complaints or you want to return, it's very difficult for them to accept it. So yeah, I would be very hesitant to buy this. Like maybe before you buy it, you could send them an email and be like, hey, can you send me like a proper scan or a proper photo, like something that's good and high res to actually inspect it? Because it's not like eBay. Like on eBay, well, a reputable seller, which you would think Sudagai would be reputable, they would have, the picture of the actual item, but it's very clear that they don't because they're using the same picture across 2 different listings. So I'd be very skeptical of that. But then you get this one here, which also has a problem with the box. Yeah, there's something wrong with the box. And I don't know if this is a picture of the box for that particular item or if it's just like a picture that the brightness is different. But this is being sold for about $900. So yeah, I would be very hesitant to buy Magical Poppin'. Although I don't know if that's a good price or not. $1,500. And then we've got here for $1,300 of, what is this? I'm not going to open up the picture because this is an adult game. I just need to blow it up so I can see see what the kanji is. SM teacher something Masa no Rabu Rabu Panic. I don't know what that game is. I just know that it's meant for adults. I'm guessing it's probably an unlicensed game, if I had to guess. But I think I've seen that in stores or in the retro game shops. Then here we've got, what is this? Shonen Ninja Sasuke. This once upon a time. This used to be the cheapest, most expensive game, like in the top 10. I think it was like number 10 or 9. That was a few years ago. Obviously, that has changed. I've heard it's not great, but I have not played it myself. Man, look at that art. That is some incredible 90s anime art right there. Okay, let's bring it back. What kind of game? Oh, yeah, it doesn't list the genre. In store, they will list the genre, but here they won't. That's so weird. Oh, and then look, some more Sunsoft games down there. What have we got? So we've got Magical Poppin'. Then we've got Iron Commando. Iron Commando used to be the most expensive, like or not like the most expensive, but one of the most expensive, like the top tier. Now it's got knocked down a few pegs. It's a side-scrolling beat 'em up, from what I can recall. I think the thing to be careful about Iron Commando is that they re-released Iron Commando in the last couple of years in a different cartridge that still works with the Super Famicom, but I think that the presentation is a lot different. So just be careful if they sell it in a lot of the retro game stores like Super Potato, I think even Trader. I think it's going for like $80-$90 for the re-release. But that's not the original. There are some differences, not in the game itself, but in the packaging. So just be aware of that. And then interesting, they've got the. So did they not? Who came out with this? Oh, Popol. So this is a good case where, because they seem to have released a lot of different games. We've also got the cartridge here, which is fine, apparently in good condition, and it's going for $90 on sale. But this could just be a generic picture, and I get the feeling this is also a generic picture of the box too, because it seems like they've got a lot of different copies in stock. So they're not. And this is baffling to me that they've apparently got it in 2 different stores, and they're using just a generic picture. I really wish they would list. Okay, this is the store that they have it at in particular. I wish they would give you the different pictures for the different listings, because the quality, especially with Surugaya, their grade of quality of fine or like in good condition is pretty wide. It's not like Mandarake where they've got like the ABC scale. Surugaya is a really different. I'd actually love to go through the Mandarake website and see what they've got for sale, and because I think they do list their stuff individually. Here we've got Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. This was a low tier, expensive Super Famicom game, and now it's like, it's in the. If you're just going by titles, it looks like it's gone into the top 5, which is really surprising to me. This is another case where I think I brought this up when we talked about like Super Spy Hunter. For the Famicom, where it is a foreign property, although it's released by Bandai. I don't know if it was actually made by Bandai or if they just localized it. But even though it's made by a Japanese company, it's for a foreign property. Although Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is also weird because it's Japanese, it's Sentai, but this is for the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. This is for the American version, but it's released in Japan by Bandai. And so it probably didn't have a very high print run, or maybe just Sentai was that popular that this is going for $800. And look at that box. That is a Super Nintendo ass looking box, even though it's for the Super Famicom. Very interesting to me. Going for what is that, $800? And then what is this? This is No Maku Baku something. The strongest mahjong player in history, going for, so it's a mahjong game going for, what is that, $800, $750? Wow, that's crazy. Look at this. All right, let's move on. Okay, so they've got 2 copies of Iron Commando. This in fine condition, it's going for, well, only a 10% discount when you're looking at that. What is this? Oh, so okay, this is good. They've actually included some pictures on this. This is actually this is good. Yeah, this is good. So let's see, what is this? Yeah, Fubiari? What does that mean? It's got something. Oh, wow. Okay, let's see if we can bring this up. So I think, yeah, wow. Okay, so this would have been probably what had happened was, that can't be. So if you a lot of times you'll find stuff in Japanese stores at hard off, Surugaya, a lot of different places, except for maybe Mandarake. They might turn these away. But much like GameStop in America, Japanese game shops, especially back in the 90s, would include stickers on the cartridge, on the boxes, giving their own price. Or like here, this is Doki Doki Takarajima, or Takenjima? Yeah. Which is a used game store that existed back in the 90s probably, where it's like talking about like this is about the cassette. This is like, make sure that don't pull out the cartridge. Don't touch the cartridge when the power is on the console when you're playing. Also, don't get the cartridge wet. And all they have checked and cleaned all of their used games. So that's really cool. So this is this. I actually think this is really cool. This is a little piece of ephemera of video game collecting history here. And I wonder if this meant that it was 905 yen. That would be absolutely crazy if there was a point where some retro shop back in the 90s was selling what is now, 20 years later, an $800 game or $750 game for $9 back then. That'd be crazy. I would love that. And then they've got, I really appreciate this when they show the actual condition. I'm guessing everything else on the box is okay, more or less, but this is here because someone liked Iron Commando. They opened it up, and so there's a crease on the box here. This is very helpful. I wish they did this for every game. And you would think for a store that is as big and has as many games and has as many expensive games as Surugaya, they should be doing this for every game that is over $100. I cannot believe they're not doing this for everything. So if you want to save 7,000 yen, if you want to save $60 on Iron Commando, buy what I think is actually the cooler copy. But that's just my opinion. And then we've got Super Turrican here going for, what is that, $750? Looking at it, another generic picture, although there is some edgeware up here. I can even tell that from this picture. Which I wonder if they did a scan or if they did an actual picture of it. I wonder. So Super Turrican, so this released by, what is this? Tonkin House? I can't remember what it was, who actually released this. Then it looks like what is this? They've got another copy of it going for $45. But is that just for the cartridge? No. Very strange. I don't know why they're giving these strange listings. Bizarre. Okay, let's move on. It's a side-scrolling shooter, I believe. I've never actually played it. I don't know how expensive it is in America, actually. I think it's one of those things where it probably didn't get printed a lot. 1993. There's another copy of Sasuke. This was going for, what, 120, 125? So, wow, significantly cheaper. Almost half price, almost $600. And then are they using the same picture? No, it's a little bit different. Might be. So what is the issue here? An issue with the box, but they don't go into specifics. And the picture actually looks better. Like, I think it just looks higher res. No, the colors look deeper, actually. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. And because they won't show pictures, I'd be very, very hesitant to buy anything with damage that they don't show you pictures about. Another Mahjong, the other Mahjong game. So what have we got? A $200 price difference. And then it's the same picture. That's crazy. Then we've got what is this? Majuo? Was it Beastmaster? I can't remember what they called this in English. This was another like low grade one. This used to be like $300, $400. Now it's $600. Complete in box, in fine condition, I guess we should say. And then here we've got cartridge only. So what were they selling it for? So they were selling Complete Rendering Ranger R2 for like, let's say $1,900. For the cartridge, it's going $600 just for the cartridge. And that's fair. Like maybe a couple years ago, it would have been $700, $800. Looks like it's either gone down in price or Surugaya is just selling it cheap. Now, why do they have two pictures? What are the difference in the pictures? I don't see a difference in the picture, actually. So probably just a generic picture because look at it. They've got it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They've got it in seven different shops. But still, again, for this expensive of a game, they should have pictures for each individual shop. And then here we've got another Iron Commando going for $600. Undercover Cops used to be really expensive. Undercover Cops used to be like $700. Now it seems to have stabilized at about $550. Yeah, I mean, I think it's another beat 'em up game. Undercover Cops is, I think, one of those that I've really been pretty interested in. I just never gotten around to actually playing it, and Lord knows I do not have $600 to blow on a Super Famicom game complete. Here we go. What is this? Yokai. Yeah, Yokai Basta Ruka no Daiboken. This is going for, so Yokai Buster Ruka, The Great Adventure. This is going for $530. Kadogawa Shoten game released 1995. Man, 1995, was that like just the best year for the Super Famicom? What's going on? I don't know about this game, so I can't tell you about it. Another Sasuke, and then here we've got, this is an interesting cartridge because it's not something you would see for sale. This is Dion. This is the campaign sample cassette. I don't know. I tried looking this online to see if I could find any information about this. Dion is a pretty, I'd say, uncommon Super Famicom game. This is going to be what I'd guess is like a demo version. You saw stuff like this for Square's games. Like, this is not a Square game, by the way, but apparently it's a thing that happened in the industry where like Square would come out with like Chrono Trigger, Seiken Densetsu 3, maybe a Final Fantasy that like as a sample. It has like a short bit of the game that I think they sent it out to reviewers, or you won it as a part of a contest. Maybe this was at a store in a kiosk. Maybe. I don't know the history behind this or the provenance behind it. But going for $510, this actually, and being loose, I don't know if this is something you would get in a box or not. I know the Square ones, they did come in boxes, just as a note. And here we go. We've got Yamaneko Bubsy. Bubsy. We've got a complete version of Bubsy going for, what was that, $480. I've never played Bubsy myself. Is it worth $450? You tell me. You tell me in the comments. Here we've got Biometal. This is a pretty, I don't want to say, it might be obscure, I think, to maybe a general audience. I've never played it, so I don't know if it's good or not. 500. I wonder. No, I don't see the cartridge version of it. The cartridge of this can go for like $100. It's a pretty expensive cartridge. Then we got actually, I want to scroll down a bit because they've got 6 different copies of Wild Guns. So let's compare all of their copies of Wild Guns. These are all with the box at a bunch of different prices. That's crazy. Even just 100 yen difference, $1 difference on these two versions. Are they all using the same picture? Oh my God, you monsters. They're using the same picture for like 5 different. This one is at least a little bit different, but not really. This is crazy to me. Wow. So here we've got Wild Guns. This is being sold. There's no issues with this game. This is being sold for $450. I remember being way more expensive. Wild Guns has actually gone down in price. Here it's got a generic picture because it's being sold at like 6 different shops. This has a problem with the ROM cassette, but if you won't show me what the problem with the ROM cassette is, like, why am I going to buy it? And that's being sold for $400, by the way. Most of these, all these other ones are being sold for about $400. This has a problem with the manual, but doesn't show a picture. Problem with the box, using a generic picture. Problem with the box and the manual and the cartridge. No pictures explaining what the problem is. So yeah, be very hesitant to buy any of these, really. Then we've got, what was it? Stone Protectors. Wow, by Chemco. I've never seen this. The Crystal of Love and Courage. That's crazy. $450 for that. See, there's a lot of these like very rare Super Famicom games that I've just never heard of them. Like, you see sometimes an Activision game, Plock, what is that, for $450? Never seen it. I wonder if it's common, like for the Super Nintendo version. What is this? This is Deai Dono-sama Appare Ichiban by Sunsoft. A lot of very expensive Sunsoft games, even for like just across platforms. Like you think Super Famicom, they've got this, they got a couple of other games. For the Famicom, I'm pretty sure it was Sunsoft that did Gimmick. You've got a couple of expensive Sunsoft games for the Game Boy. This is another game I don't know about anything about it. We got another copy of Turrican, rank B for Super Turrican, but it's just like it's ranked as B. You can't tell it from the picture for a $500 game. Well, $450 game, excuse me. And then we got the cartridge. So what was it going for? Let's go back. Because it's nice. I can actually go through these tabs quite quickly. So here we've got complete in box. You've got the copy of Slam Dunk Limited going for about $3,700. Then we've got the cartridge going for a cool $450. Wow. That box and manual are going to cost you $4,000. Well, sorry, wait, $3,000? My short-term memory is really bad. So yeah, $3,000 for a box and a manual. Better love the hell out of the Super Famicom and Slam Dunk if you're paying that. It's Wild Guns, Beast Module by KSS. Now this is, wow, is this the most expensive Nintendo game that's been produced? I mean, probably not, but it's definitely up there. What do we got? We've got Kirby Kira Kira Kizu. This is a Nintendo game. What is the deal with it? Why is this so expensive? It includes holographic seals. Maybe that's why it's so expensive. So it's a puzzle game, obviously. When did this come out? 99. Okay, all right, that explains a lot. Actually, this is probably be in the same league as Thrakia 776, the Fire Emblem game. So it came out in 1999. It's the same with like Rekka 92, Gimmick. It's one of those games that even though it was produced by Nintendo, and I wonder if this was a Satellaview game. This is a Super Famicom cartridge. But what you found was there was like Thrakia 776 is a good example, or 766. I can't remember the exact number. You had games that were produced for the Satellaview, or not for the Satellaview, but for the Nintendo Power. Super Wars, Super Famicom Wars is another good example. Although it did not get a physical release. You had the Super Nintendo, or the Super Power, in Japan, or the Nintendo Power. God, I'm getting all confused here. You had the Nintendo Power, which was this system where it was like the disc system, where you had a cartridge that was blank. You bought the blank cartridge. You went down to a convenience store. I think it was Lawson at the time. They had this giant machine. You put the cartridge into the machine, and you downloaded the game to your cartridge for like $5, the equivalent back then. And sometimes you would get a sticker with it so you could know what was on your cartridge. Sometimes you didn't get a sticker. But then for like Thrakia, they actually ended up releasing it. Thrakia was released in like what, 96, 95? Like sometime around then. But then it ended up getting a full-on physical release, like in like 99, 2000, like years after the Super Famicom had been like, discarded. Like, the N64 had been out for like 4 or 5 years at this point. So here you've got the Kirby Kira Kira Kizu, came out in 1999. The Super Famicom is like, what, 3 years old? Or like 3 years out of date at this point. Like 96 is when the N64 came out. So that could explain why it's a Kirby game. So you got that like brand, you got that people want Kirby games. You got people who collect Kirby games. And it was also probably released in very limited numbers. So that's why this Kirby game is going for $380. If you can please excuse my long-winded explanation. Probably going to have to bring that up in every video. Because there's always that one. Oh, interesting. Here we've got, okay, so we'll get past it. So we've got Ghosto Chesa Dense? Wow, look at that art. You'd never see that in America. So yeah, this is a Band Presto game. I've never played it, but it's going for $380. What is super interesting to me is... Oh, okay. All right, actually, we got a lot of interesting stuff here. Let's bring these out. Here we've got, so the Super Famicom Turbo. So here we've got a Super Famicom Turbo game. Karenja Zenkai Reisa So this is like a car racing fighting game. I'm not sure. The Super Famicom Turbo, unfortunately, doesn't show an image. They were these very small cartridges that you put into a bigger cartridge that you slotted into your Super Famicom. It's really weird. I think Bandai released it. But there's a bunch of games out there for it. They're tiny, almost Game Boy sized. I think you can put two in at the same time. I'm not entirely sure about that. Oh, and then they got interesting. Okay, they got a bunch of interesting stuff here. So that's going for $360 for one of those. I've never seen those actually in real life. I've only seen them in like commercials, like on YouTube and on like print advertisements. I may have seen them in shops, but they're not very expensive. This one obviously is. Then we get to Magical Poppin'. How much was Magical Poppin' loose? Let's double check, or complete. So Magical Poppin' complete was about $1,200. And then here we've got a cartridge going for $360. So if you don't want the box and manual, you can save a lot of money. That's $1,000 box and manual. That's crazy. Then we've got here, what is this? This is... Let's see, Demons Blazon sample. Okay, so this is so Demons Blazon, actually pretty expensive. It's pretty uncommon Super Famicom game, anyways. But here you've got the like demo version going for $360. Likewise, here we go, another demo version. This is the sample ROM for Seiken Densetsu 3. So this would have, it looks like, so here it's saying it's Seiken Densetsu 3 coming out in September. I don't know what the actual story is behind this, but I'm guessing this would have been sent out to reviewers or to stores, or you might have got this in a like for their magazine contest to like build hype for the game. And this is going for, I feel like I've seen this. This is going for $350. I feel like I've seen that more expensive elsewhere, but that's a long time ago when I saw that. Where were we? Yeah, so then we go, Module, Seiken Densetsu 3, Spider-Man, Lethal Force. That's another game that it's one of those things where it's an American property. I don't think Marvel games are... Marvel is really weird in Japan, where Marvel is often just sold as a brand. Like, the movies are sort of popular. Like, they get in the theaters, they get their run, they make some money. But superheroes themselves, it's really just the Marvel brand, not Spider-Man, even including DC, like not Batman, not Superman to a certain extent, but like the Marvel superheroes, they're sort of known, but they're not that popular. American comic books, I think, have become a thing since the Marvel movies became huge, but they're still not that big. And then we've got, interesting, okay, we got here, we'll look at these last two games here. Undercover Cops, wow, 300, I never thought I'd live to see the day, even though it's damaged to a certain extent, seeing a $300 copy of Undercover Cops. Here we've got, this is the second, this is Pocky and Rocky 2. Pocky and Rocky 1 is expensive. Pocky and Rocky 2, how much are they selling it for? They're selling it for $340. That's actually pretty good. I feel like I've seen this way more expensive in like Mandarake. Yeah, wow. I wonder how much this is loose. So loose Pocky and Rocky 1 is anywhere from like $80 to $100. This I feel like would be even more expensive. And then we've also got Battle Mobile going for, what was the price on this? $320 on Battle Mobile. Wow, I wonder. I would love to actually play this game. This sounds really cool, but I've never seen this game before. That's cool. Anyway, okay, so we've done the 2 pages here. I think that's going to be our sort of standard for our expensive video game shopping. That's been I've actually some of these. Yeah, I've never seen these before, even in the stores, even in Japan. So this has been the Surugaya's most expensive Super Famicom games. Interesting to see, let's just quickly, I'm curious to see what their other expensive cartridges are. Now that, if you're in this deep, I feel like we can, wow, look at that. Yeah, look at that browning on that cartridge there. Final Fight Tough 300, yeah. Oh, and then this is probably the most interesting to me. This got released. Here's the Thrakia 776. This was the release. So that's the Nintendo Power box there. This would have been the generic release of Thrakia 776. This ended up getting released as a full box with a proper cartridge later. 300. I remember seeing this for cheaper. I want to say I've seen this for 200 elsewhere. This is being sold for $310. This came out in 1999. I think the real release came out in like 2000, I want to say. And then we've got some other cool games. Something Final Fight Tough, not worth it. Final Fight Tough is a fine game, $300 loose. And then we've got Hyperia, Hyperia, however you say that. Virtual Bart, $300 for Virtual Bart. Jeez. And then yeah, the Super Return of the Jedi, all the Super games, all the Super Star Wars games are really expensive. Spriggan Powered for $250. Wow, I remember when I thought $200 was cheap for that back in the day. A lot of it, yeah. A lot of these, I remember this used to be like top 10 super expensive Super Famicom game. Not that expensive apparently. And then you've got the gold cartridge for Bomberman 5, going for $250. Yeah, and then another sample ROM cart. Yeah, so that's the most expensive stuff. Interesting that the cartridges seem to be ranging, most of them in the 200 or below 200. You don't really get super expensive cartridge games, even for the Super Famicom. Yeah, okay, so that's it. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing this for every system that I possibly can, just because I wanna keep up on the prices. I wanna see what's moving, what's shaking. Hope you learned something. I certainly did. I've been your man out of Japan, Jay Contra. Thanks for watching. See you next time, and mahalo.